Hello and welcome to the channel called 8gen AI Studio. This is the first interview on this channel and I'm quite excited about it. In this first episode, I'm hosting Sai S. Ramachandran, who has built an AI product called Squad GPT. So welcome Sai. We will
Hey,
learn
God.
more about his product in a short while, but first let me introduce Sai. Sai has worked as an analyst at Goldman Sachs and mobile app developer for Fortune 500 brands like Pepsi, Frito-Lay, Thermo Fisher. And he has also worked as a cloud architect. Currently, he is focused on his startup called Squad GPT, which aims to help startups harness the power of AI to streamline critical business processes, starting with hiring. He loves doing crosswords, public speaking, and writing. One thing which struck me about his intro was that he has been coding since he was in shorts. Sai, let's start with this one to know more about you. Can you share your coding experience from your initial days?
I like to say that, first of all, Gaurav, thank you so much for having me on your show. It is really nice of you to reach out and ask if I was interested in talking to you. Yes, I'm very interested in talking to you, first of all. And secondly, I like to say that I've been coding since I was in shorts because continue to wear shorts. So it's a
Okay.
little bit of an inside joke. So did you start coding this morning because you wore shorts this morning, or have you been coding since you were a kid? But the truth is that yes, I have been coding since I was a kid in middle school, high school. Uh, we
Hmm.
had some really good facilities available to us. The teachers were so, but the facilities were great. And this was in the mid to late 90s, where we had to take off our shoes before going into a computer science room, and there was all this worries about
Okay.
dust. So those
Yeah.
were really old times. I've been coding since then. So coding has been part of my formative years.
Great. Great. That's I think that also reminds me my journey with the computers. It was something which I started only when I got to the computer science college. When I went to the first year, that time I actually got in first-hand experience with the computer. Then this was the same experience. You have to remove your shoes, get into the lab, come out, make sure everything is clean, and come out. No dust.
Right, right.
All right. So quite a journey for you. Looks exciting. So how do we go about it today? Is that we are going to talk about a little bit about Gen AI because there is AI everywhere. We want to know your perspective. What do you feel? I believe you have been working in AI for some time since you have built this project. And after that, we cover some of the learnings, and then uh, there's a demo which, if you want to present, please go ahead and you can share your product demo so people are aware how to use it.
Gaurav, I think I've lost you.
All right. So, Sai, am I audible to you? Okay, I'm audible
Your
to you.
internet was, you weren't, yeah, now it's good.
Okay, thanks. All right. So my first question is, how did you get into the world of AI, Sai, and what did you like most about it?
Getting into AI was sort of, it happened organically. So I have been, since I said I've been coding and I've been working in technology for a long time. When the first news about GPT came out, I wasn't really following it that much. That time I was more focused on my cloud architecture roles. But as GPT-3 came out and people started talking about it on Hacker News and places like that, that's when I first came to know about large language models and GPT and generative text and generative AI. Those things
Hmm.
became something I could play with directly. I could just sign up, try it out, and see for myself how well it was working, how well it was not working. So that was my first exposure. And all the credit should go to the people who invented the transformers and made the technology available to us. And prior to that, prior to generative AI, I was aware of AI as a thing happening in the back. There was all this hype from people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk that AI is going to disrupt everything and the world is going to change around us. I knew of it, but I didn't really pay much attention to things like NLP or any of the other AI technologies that are out there. But generative AI is the first time I actually got involved in AI directly and I played with it myself and I saw the potential of it. So the initial response was, wow, this thing actually works really well. And
Yes.
then the questions start popping up because a part of me is also a little bit, I'm a technologist first, but a part of me is also an entrepreneur. So really wanted to see where I can take a product like generative AI and build a product around it and bring it to the market. So then I started playing with it. I bought my GPT plus, Chat GPT plus
Chat
license.
GPT Plus, yeah.
I got all those things and I played with it. I liked it. And now I invested a little more in time and effort into it. That's why I'm here.
Great. So I believe this must be around a year times. You have been working and playing with AI, especially Gen AI, and I think the journey must be quite exciting for you since you already built one product, Squad GPT, which we will talk just in a moment. But I would like to know what are the challenges you faced because things are excited, because of the hype and everything. Everybody's talking about it. But did you see any challenge when you wanted to get into it, when you want to learn into it, or do something about it?
The challenges are extremely hard to overcome. There are lots of challenges in generative AI and they're very difficult to overcome. Now, the first thing to realize is that AI is a statistical product. So it does not have any guarantees of what output will come based on any input. You can tweak it so that it gives very almost predictable results. But again, it's almost predictable, first of all. And secondly, that's not how people are going to use generative models. Now, that is the key insight that you need to keep when it comes to building products around generative AI. Because you will
Hmm.
find situations where generative AI will give you a response that doesn't make sense, and you will have to work around it. You have to put tooling in place to catch the fact that the response is incorrect without knowing whether the response is incorrect or not, right? Keep that in mind, that you don't know for sure in the beginning whether the response is incorrect or not. And then you have
Right.
to put tooling to catch the fact that the response is incorrect, and either query the AI again or tell the user that the response is incorrect. Now, why does it not matter when it comes to chat GPT? Now, it doesn't matter with chat GPT because it's a chat interface, so you're not making
Yeah.
decisions based on the output from the backend, right? So that's
Hmm.
the insight that you need to take back with you when you're building products around generative AI.
So good that you call out a few challenges about how to using this is not as easy as it looks like, or as innovative or as exciting it looks like when it comes to
Right.
building a production grade application using chat or the Gen AI. So my next question is, how did you go about learning Gen AI? You talked a lot about things, so I think the knowing is one thing, but learning in a structured manner is other challenge, right? So I would like to know what approach did you use, how much time you spent, or what was like, did you do any course, or it was just all of your self study?
The answer is it's all self-study, because the documentation on the OpenAI website is really nice. So they have all the APIs available. And let me be honest. I'm more of an engineer than I guess a I don't know, software scientist. I don't know what the word is, because I like to hack things together rather than you know upfront understand it deeply and go into the technical details about transformers or whatever technologies underneath everything. So my
Hmm.
first instinct was to pick up a small project and build a product using generative AI. The first thing we did was, there was a company, there was a actually the Tamil Nadu government was looking to use generative AI to help students prepare for entrance exams. And they wanted a proof of concept to be built around that. So somehow, through some connection, some friend of friends of friends, I got to know about it. And the person who was sort of being the liaison between technology and the Tamil Nadu government got in touch with me and asked me to make something for them. So we did a proof of concept around that. And that was a great learning experience, because it forced us
Okay.
to look at the API documentation, build a product and deploy it and see how everything works. Identify these small little problems with the output coming from generative AI. Like what I said about the quality of the answers
Yeah.
not always being 100%, those things you'd be learned very quickly, that it's not always going to be the case that you get the correct answer, or the answers will be elaborate enough or short enough to make sense. And plus, this was a coaching sort of situation where students are not going to read pages after pages of documentation, or not
Right.
can you give them wrong information. Because if you give them wrong information and they go use that information in an exam, that means you're the person who caused the student to give the wrong answer. So we learned all this stuff about generative AI by doing it. And I think that's the best way for any new entrepreneurs or anybody who's getting interested in the space. Go look at the documentation, build your first API, build your first API integration, and start
Hmm.
asking questions. It's relatively simple. And it's not super expensive. And even I think the older models, the GPT 3.5 and below, they I think are probably free at this point. I don't think they're charging a lot for that. So from
Yeah,
a
they're
cost perspective,
quite cheaper than the latest models, right?
yeah.
Good. And now a lot of people are coming and are showing interest, especially the I think college students or someone who is just getting into IT world. So we already see there's a wave called AI, right? Now people would like to go get into, right, rather than doing something which is being happening for last 10 or 20 years. So
Right.
what are the lessons you want to share with the audience of this channel who wants to learn or get into AI, especially the Gen AI, or building apps in that? So anything with maybe two or three things you want to share from your learning.
The, the first thing is a bit of a warning actually, because the CEO of Nvidia is saying that very soon coding is going to become obsolete. So people who are getting into generative AI thinking that it's going to help them become better coders or help them in their coding as coders, there is a warning from the CEO of Nvidia that those jobs are going to become obsolete not very far away. Maybe in a few years, those jobs are going to become obsolete. So
Hmm.
just be mindful about investing too much of your mental bandwidth in learning coding, or learning how to use becoming a software itself. Like as a profession, it's going to become less and less lucrative from a coding perspective. So the advice I give to people who come and take my who seek my want to pick my brains is always that how far up the value chain can you position yourself? If your
Hmm.
value is that you're a React developer who is able to hack together a front end, that stuff is going to go away. That stuff has already gone away. If you go on platforms like Upwork or any of those freelancer websites, there are more people offering gigs on, say, Bubble. They're saying, I can make you a Bubble website, which is a no code platform to create websites.
Right.
So no code and low code is becoming the norm and is going to accelerate with the advent of AI. Let's take an example of my own situation, my own startup. We've had people working in the startup, but I have come to realize that I can do, you know what they say, right? The If you wanted to get something done correctly, you should do it yourself. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
the feeling I get with generative AI, because it's such an empowering product. People like me, people who are sort of semi technical, will go ahead and use generative AI to at least create a proof of concept or do the initial MVP of their own product. So you will find, you if you're a new person getting into technology, you will find that if you are just a prompt engineer, or you can just maybe know how where to enter the prompt to get the right output from AI, you're probably not going to do a great job, and there'll be
Hmm.
no value add, because anybody can eliminate and replace you. Either they can replace you themselves, or they can get someone else to do your job a little cheaper. So then there's no competitive advantage, and that's true of, like, across the board in AI. That's true. I was reading
Hmm.
this not very long ago that AI as a product, there are only a few companies which are going to actually build the AI future. Everybody else, people like me, people like who are building all these AI platforms on top of the products that OpenAI and other companies are launching, we aren't the ones who are building the AI future. And
Right.
your choices are two. Either you say, I'm going to work for OpenAI or companies like OpenAI, or I'm going to build a product which is built on top of OpenAI. But that product cannot be a simplistic product, which is just basically a prompt. You have to be able to you have to make it a productizable product. You have to make it do all the troubleshooting, pick all the mistakes that AI does. So if you can help AI be more productive and be more productive correctly, that's where
Hmm.
you find a niche for yourself. Other than that, it's going to be really tough. If it's just sugar on top of AI or OpenAI, you're going to have a tough time.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's the what things are getting evolved slowly, slowly. Like people are getting to see new products coming built on top of Gen AI, or I'll say AI, where
Mhm.
some part of Gen AI is also used. But you're right,
Mhm.
just using a Gen AI, and which actually is a power underneath the model, you are
Mhm.
not adding any value. Then there's nothing much you can do about
Right.
it. So
Right.
coming now, because we're talking about Gen AI, today everybody is building different types of GPTs. GPT
Mhm.
is a word which has become quite popular in last
Mhm.
1 year, especially after Chat
Mhm.
GPT. So
Mhm.
people talk these days. Earlier, people used to talk about mobile apps. Okay, I have mobile app, I have Android app, I have iOS app. So today they talk about GPTs. I
Mhm.
have this GPT, I have that GPT. Okay, so looks like suddenly we have more solutions than the problems.
Mhm.
So what do you feel about this? About this?
I don't know if there's more solutions than problems. Okay, people are building GPTs, but the GPTs themselves are not super complex, though they solve a specific problem. Okay, so they
Hmm.
are solution solving problems, because you can't, I mean, there's no, you can create a GPT which does, which is a vanity GPT, but that's not going to be of much value to anyone. And not many people are doing making vanity products. But at the end of the
Hmm.
day, being a statistical model, your GPT's responses are not going to be reliable. You will have a problem with that. So, and the people who are out there making these GPTs, they all realize this, that building products on top of GPT, they all realize that the output from GPT is so unstable and unreliable that you cannot productize it. Let me give you an example. There's somebody I know runs a, through some connections, they have a content creation product in the
Hmm.
lines of Jasper and all. They have a content creation product, like a blogging platform built on GPT.
Okay.
I was speaking to the people who are the product managers in that company, and they said that most of the time, like the companies which come in and they subscribe to that generative AI platform, the platform which creates the content, the churn is extremely high. Even if the company pays whatever, they subscribe maybe a month, 2 months, then they realize that
Mhm.
the output coming from those GPTs is useless. The output coming from that platform, the blogs that the platform creates,
Right.
they're useless. You can't publish them. You have to do a lot of work to convert that into something which reflects your brand voice. It reflects your, what you want to convey. It has all the features that you would require before you can publish that on your blog. All those things have to
Hmm.
be done by an individual. So they feel that this platform is not worth the money they're spending on it. Okay,
Hmm.
though, because the economy is so big, it's a global, this company caters to a global audience, so they end up finding new people to replace the exiting customers. So even if they have 100% churn, the next set of customers is available, is knocking on the door to get signed up. So
Okay.
I would say that uh, many products are out there which are buggy, and they are
Hmm.
based on GPT, but they don't work. But if you can find
Hmm.
a way to make it work, if you can find a way to streamline the output from GPT, or you can find a way to, or you can find a niche where the output does not really matter. The guarantee of the output is not really critical to the output, the acceptability of the output. Then I think you'll be okay. So that's something you can consider. That though there are people building GPTs, many of the GPTs don't work, and people are frustrated by it. They exit that GPT, they don't buy it anymore. Then they don't renew their subscription or anything like that. But if you can find something which works, where the output does not really, is not on the critical path to somebody's life or death, then you'll be okay.
Yeah. And just to add one point here, recently OpenAI has launched a feature where you can provide a feedback on
Hmm.
someone's GPT, because now we are all chat GPT plus users. So we can use any GPT by search, and there are millions of GPTs available. So I
Right, right,
think
right.
this probably aspect is coming bigger and bigger every time. People use GPT thinking, okay, I can do this, I can do that. That's what they're claiming as a part of description. But how much is really happening in terms of
Hmm.
percentage wise to the to the
It's not that I
expectation
can.
to the
Yeah,
to
it's not that. And many people have even figured out how to reverse engineer the prompt, so that if say for example I'm selling a GPT in the GPT store, like OpenAI has a GPT store, I'm selling
Hmm.
my custom GPT on that GPT store. People have figured out how to reverse engineer the prompt, so that my prompt that I gave to Chat GPT is something that they can steal, and they can make their own GPT. So that's another problem there.
Okay. All right. So we'll go to the demo part. I think, Sai, you can share your screen and take maybe whatever minutes you need to have a short demo so that
All right.
people know about your product and how to use it.
All right. So I hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Right. So let me give you a little bit of a background on what problem I'm trying to solve and how it connects with everything else I've said so far. And the problem I'm trying to solve is of hiring, because as a solopreneur and as a founder myself, my biggest challenge is to find the right candidate, get them onboarded, and get them working as soon as possible. And I realized that I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I don't know enough about everything to be able to make a good qualitative judgment on whether a candidate is a good candidate or a bad candidate, or somewhere in between. So if it's a good candidate or a bad candidate, you're good. You can just move on. But if somebody's in between, you don't know whether they're on the positive side of the between or the negative side of the between. So that's where
Hmm.
this problem statement came to me, that I need to be able to solve this for myself. That if I can build a product which I can use to screen candidates, then it'll be a value for everybody else in the world also. So if you're hiring a front end developer for your personal portfolio website, or you're hiring a tutor for your kids, all those things are
Hmm.
going to be made simpler if you have a product like this that I'm going to show to you today. Now, that is the problem statement. Now, how does it connect with what I was saying about GPTs before? The value add that we've done is that we've reduced the amount of hallucinations, we've reduced the amount of mistakes. GPT will still
Hmm.
make mistakes, but we've reduced the impact of those mistakes. It's not like you're going to be shown something completely bogus when it comes to creating a job description for a new role. So you might
Hmm.
see it, but there'll also be other useful stuff around it, so that you don't feel that your time is being wasted. So my belief is that we've sort of getting towards reaching that stage where we've cracked the problem of hallucinations and uh, mistakes derailing a conversation. Because many times you would have seen when you're talking to a chat GPT that you'll start in one direction, then it'll say something, it'll go off in some complete different
Yeah,
tangent, and
right,
there'll be nothing valuable coming out of it.
right.
So I think we've solved those problems in this product, and which is what I want to show in a demo right now. So you
Okay.
go to your dashboard. When you come to the Squad GPT website directly, if you're not logged in, it'll ask you to enter your email and log in and all that. But I've already done that, so I
Got
can
it.
come to the dashboard myself. And then you click on jobs, and now I'm going to create a job description. The reason we are using JDs is that it gives you confidence when you create a good JD that you've covered all your bases when it comes to identifying what the person is supposed to be able to do and not able to do, and all those things. So if you publish a JD, which is by JD I mean job description. If you publish a
Hmm.
job description which is out of date, which references technologies which are not in use anymore, you will also attract people who are of lower quality, right? So we want to avoid that when it comes to finding people to fit a role. We want to attract the right people for the right role. So this is a demo I'm going to do of creating a JD. So Gaurav, do you have any role that you want to create a JD for, like something in your ideas you need somebody in your team?
Yeah. So let's say I want to hire someone with a uh, AI experience, possibly Gen AI,
Mhm.
with a background in programming,
Hmm.
plus little bit knowledge on the data, basically how to
Hmm.
analyze the data, how to do the data observability.
All right. So we're going to start with generative AI engineer, and then I'm assuming that you don't mind if this person's remote or hybrid or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm going to pick remote. Or do you want them to come into the office with you?
Yeah, I think that's also fine.
All right.
If
Let's
that
call it
option
hybrid
is
then.
hybrid, yeah, I think we can do that.
All right. What kind of experience do you want the candidate to have? Entry level,
Yeah, I
junior,
would
middle?
like to have someone with a, I think, 3 to 5 years experience.
So let's call it mid level, because 3 to 5 years in AI is good experience. That's a reasonable amount of experience.
Yeah,
And what kind of are they dealing with a certain type of data? Is it Indian only data? Is it doesn't matter?
yeah, it doesn't matter. Ideally, they should have a good understanding of, basically, if it is data, how to analyze it, how to clean it, how to process it, and how to use it to train model, fine tune models. That's I think the main thing.
Hmm. So we're going to start with this, and the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to see a bunch of recommendations which tell you uh, what you can look for in that JD.
Okay.
Right. So right. So you see generative AI engineer down here.
Yes. Okay. So this is the one it is just created.
It's coming. So it's just you literally saw the recommendations come in from the back end. If you look
Okay.
at the recording, you'll see. So here's what the backend thinks you should look for in your JD. Okay, and
Okay.
here's one extra bit that we've added, which is the perks. So many jobs, many JDs that you see out there, they don't include what the company offers to the candidates. It's always about what the candidate can offer to the company. But we've sort of added this feature of being able to offer perks or recommending perks to the candidate, so that you can
Hmm.
attract people who are in that, who are concerned about those things. Let's take an example of paid parental leave. I myself I'm a new parent, and for me it matters if I need to be available away from work, if the company is supportive of that. So those things matter to people like me, though it might not matter to everybody, but those things do matter. And as if you offer that as a perk, it's more likely you'll attract people like me who will say that I think I want to work with Gaurav because he's offering paid parental leave, or he's
Hmm.
understanding about flexible working hours, those kind of things. So this is one extra bit. So let's pick, say, flexible working hours, then remote work flexibility you already have. Are you offering a stipend, Gaurav, or a technology stipend?
Yeah, technology stipend for maybe for the probation period, let's say.
Okay, that basically that's fine. Now, this you see this list of tools that the person is expected to know. So this set explains what the person should know before they even start working for you, right? They should know Python, PyTorch, TensorFlow.
Hmm.
Which ones do you think are most important to you? Like, which ones are you comfortable with that they would like them to know?
I think they definitely should know GPT libraries, which is three APIs is fine. Then Python is the, I think, the basic language, or the and some of the libraries, which are like a Skykit and whatever.
Skycap.
Yeah, Hugging Face Transformer is, I think, that's the key.
What about Jupyter notebooks and pandas?
And yes, Jupyter notebooks and pandas also. I think mostly are required. What I see is, yeah, weights and biases is okay if they are not very proficient, but they definitely should know about tools, how
Hmm.
to use it, and then yes, SQL
Oh,
databases.
SQL databases. Great. Now
Here
let's
it is
move
not
on and
mentioned about other database, but fine. I think databases and some programming language, for
ah,
example, if they know any other programming language, that can also be add on.
right. So let's just go with the recommendation just to see how what you'd get from this, and then you can compare it with some other AI, generative AI JD, and we can see if our output is better than theirs or not. All right. So then,
Hmm.
responsibilities wise, you said design and develop generative AI models. I'm sure you want that. Fine tuning, you said you want. Then implement data wrangling. You said analyze data to inform models. That's also you said. Document AI development process and model architectures. Optimize AI systems for scalability, efficiency. I don't think you care about those things. Conduct experiments to test model robustness and reliability. Do you want this from your person?
Yeah, so I think that should be that is needed because when they're training it, they should be able
Mhm.
to test it out, right? Reliability.
Right. Now keep in mind that seeing these suggestions in front of you, you might think that, oh, of course, this makes sense. But if you're making this JD yourself, you might not
Hmm.
have thought of these things, of all these small
Yeah, some
nuances
of the
that
things we would not have thought about, right?
so that is where the value add for a product like this comes. You are not being shown just a very generic JD or just giving generic suggestions. It understands what a data engineer, sorry, a generative AI engineer who also wrangles data is supposed to do. So if you ask me, these are two separate jobs: a generative AI engineer and a data wrangler and a data analyst. They're sort of
Hmm.
parallel, but they're not exactly the same job. But this
Right.
system is able to look at both and give you suggestions for both, which is where the value add comes. So if you're building a cross-functional team, a product like this
Hmm.
can help you move faster.
Hmm.
Okay. Then in
Actually,
terms of
right.
requirements, huh. So in terms of requirements, I think data wrangling and data analysis were a requirement for you. Model fine tuning was a requirement. Then you already said Python, TensorFlow, and PyTorch. Uh, then you
Yeah,
said,
so I think they should know deep learning, machine learning. That's the part of their skill set. Yes,
mhm.
and
Okay,
NLP. Yes.
NLP also. Okay, so then the JD will reflect all that. Now, eh, but keep in mind that you ask for a generative AI, so it's helping you think beyond just the constraints of your your first
Right.
instinct and giving you suggestions outside that. So that's where the value add of this product comes. Now, compliance wise, now this information again, would it be good for the generative AI engineer to know these things or not? You tell me. If the data protection and privacy laws specific to that country, are they useful to you to know, for the person to
So
know?
yeah, I think they should. I think it's nice to have for the person who I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Not mandatory for this role, but if it is suggesting, maybe it can come in the nice to have section.
All right. So we haven't implemented that feature where you could click on a link, click on a suggestion and say, this is a, I need it, versus it's okay if it doesn't have, this person doesn't have that. We haven't
Okay,
implemented that.
got it.
That's something we can add. Okay. And now once all these selections are made, so you said, I want PyTorch, remote work, all these things, I'm offering these perks. And once all that is
Mm-hmm.
done, you just draft a JD. It takes about 35 to 40 seconds for the JD to come. And while that is happening, you and I can keep talking, while in the back end, the system is doing its magic and it's going to create a JD for you.
Okay.
And here's a few other things I could maybe show you while that is happening. Like, this entire thing cost about 2,800 tokens for the JDs here. I just sent you a link on chat, which is the link to this JD
Okay.
itself, one we created together just now.
Okay. 1 second. I can't see.
Let me put it again. It's not visible now.
Yeah.
Can you check now?
All right. Yeah, I can. I got the link. I'm opening it.
Hmm.
All right. So this is the one which says generative AI engineer job summary. We are seeking a talented, experienced Gen AI engineer to join a dynamic team as a generative AI engineer. You will be responsible for designing, developing, and fine-tuning innovative AI models that drive our business solutions. Cool. Work presence, hybrid, responsibility, design, develop cutting-edge generative model, fine-tuning existing, analyze large data sets, implement data wrangling techniques, conduct rigorous experiments to test the robustness and reliability, and collaborate with cross-functional team. Okay. Mandatory requirements: proficiency in machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing. Okay, then we have Python, TensorFlow. Okay, that looks great because I think it has covered in a very structured manner.
About this as well. Now, I was saying that once you can share this link on your social media, anybody who's interested in the job can come in. They can upload their resume, and they can do the interview right there. So instantly, they'll be able to do their first screening, and this helps
Hmm.
you interview candidates at scale. You can put it on your LinkedIn and start getting feedback from people, or people applying and getting screened
Yes,
immediately instead
right.
of waiting for doing it yourself. So that doing it yourself stuff is taken care of. The system takes care of it for you, though we haven't built it yet, but you can upload and get screened immediately. And as a
So,
hiring
so this is
manager,
a
this
job
speeds up the
description
process.
module, which helps me to create a JD
Mhm.
that I understand. But does it
Right.
also help me filter out the resumes once somebody starts applying it against this JD?
It's for screening also. So the next stage of this is screening, where you upload your resume, and you, as in the candidate, uploads the resume, and the system will look at the JD and do the screening also. So it'll ask you questions based on the JD and based on the resume, whether there is an overlap of skill sets and knowledge. So, for example, if I'm a cloud architect and I see this job description and I upload it, and it'll say that, okay, you're a cloud architect, you don't have any Python experience, you don't know what PyTorch is, then why are you applying
Hmm.
for this job? It'll probably tell you right away that me applying is
Okay.
useless. There's no point that I apply. So that
Hmm.
also takes care of your screening for you. So the system is not just about creating JDs. The next phase
Hmm.
after this, next step after this, is to upload a resume and get screened by candidates.
Got it. Great. Okay, that's cool. I think we got to learn about this project, and I'm sure that once uh, we have this link out, people will try it out. Is there any trial mode available where, or it is always a paid one? Somebody has to, subscribe to the service, and then only they can use it.
You can sign in right now. It's 10,000 tokens free, which means you can create a couple of JDs just to see for yourself. Maybe
Okay.
it's about 3,000 tokens per JD. So about 3 JDs you can create, and you can see how it works. The paid version is roughly 8,500 rupees for founders. For candidates, it's a little less. I mean, a lot less. But for founders, it's 8,000 rupees, 8,500 rupees flat. But
Okay.
if your user are interested, we have an early 20. That's the token we've set up, the discount coupon. So if you guys are interested, I'll share the link, the payment for in the Indian payment link, and
Okay.
also the coupon, which can give you a 20% off to sign up.
So you said 8,000 for founders or the
Eight and a half
startups.
thousand. 8,500 rupees gets you 1.5 million tokens, which means that if every job takes about 3,000 tokens, you can create as so many jobs now.
Yeah, so many jobs, right?
And then all the screening that this candidates do is built to you, because you're the person hiring. So those are also built to you, and those screenings are about 10,000 tokens per screen. So you can do a lot of screening. You can do a lot of filtering of candidates using Squad GPT.
Got it.
And
Looks
there's a coupon,
interesting.
20% off coupon.
Coupon, yeah. Thanks. Looks interesting. I think this kind of product definitely makes sense. I remember that I when I was in AWS, I used to manually screen resumes. I mean, we were a set of managers who were taking their turns, maybe dividing the resumes submitted by the recruiter, and then we screen manually to see, okay, if it is the right fit, or is it suitable for the job which we are looking for people to apply. So if this can be done by I think this is the right use case of implementing Gen AI, where it can help us to first create the job description, and which I understand you will not create every other day. You will create once, probably for 10-15 jobs, whichever you have at a given
Right.
point of time. But you will keep revising once in a while, not like every day or every other day. But
Right.
main thing is the resume coming in against that job description or the JD.
Hmm. Right.
Filtering is, I think, the main effort, because that
Hmm.
you expect a lot, especially in the big companies, because that's where people want to work.
That's
Or
why that's why this system is going to make life a lot simpler for people managers, people who are always hiring. It's going to make it a lot
right,
simpler for them to screen candidates and correctly screen candidates. Not like, there are many times you make a mistake and you throw away the good candidates along with the bad candidates. But this is AI. I think is a great place where you won't have that situation happening.
great. Okay, with this we have come to an end, and I want to thank Sai for giving us a lot of insights into whatever you have learned, whatever you have done with Gen AI, especially in last few months, and the beautiful product. I hope to get a lot of success with this launch, with the coupon code which you're selling, get a lot more customers, and we get to see usage of this product sooner in the market at
So
a larger scale.
sounds
Thanks,
good, brother.
Sai, for
Thank you
having,
so much.
yeah, for joining this first interview. It was great to have you in this session. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. And if your listeners have any interest in this, please let me know. I'd be happy to give them white glove personalized service to help them navigate the system.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you.